welcome over here to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you 5 of my all-time favorite Thanksgiving side dishes. These side dishes are extra amazing because they are so easy to throw together and they're delicious, so I really hope you enjoy it, and let's go get to cooking. We're kicking today off with these gorgeous dinner rolls. These dinner rolls are extra amazing because they only take about an hour to make from start to finish. So into this bowl, I added 3/4 cup of water along with 3/4 cup of milk, and then add 4 tablespoons of softened butter, 1/4 cup of sugar, and then a dash of salt. After you add all those ingredients into this bowl, go ahead and microwave this for about 1 to 2 minutes or until the butter melts in the microwave. Now over to my electric mixer. If you don't have an electric mixer, you could just use a big bowl for this part. I added that mixture right in there and I'm whisking it all together just to get the sugar incorporated. Next, go ahead and add in your 3 teaspoons of yeast, whisk it one more time, and then let this sit for about 10 minutes to let the yeast activate. These dinner rolls are absolutely the best and they could not be any easier to make. So now that my yeast is activated, you'll see that it's a little bit foamy on top. I put my dough hook on my electric mixer and now I'm slowly going to be adding in about 3.5 to 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and just continue to mix it while you add a little bit of flour in at a time until your dough looks something like this. I'm sprinkling plenty of flour on my countertop just to ensure that the dough does not stick. So I brought over my big dough ball and you'll see me knead it just a few times right here. After that, separate your dough into 15 different pieces and then roll each of the pieces of dough into balls. I do want to let you know, if you want to add herbs to this dough like rosemary or anything you want, you certainly can. That would give these dinner rolls so much great flavor, or if you wanted to make them a little bit sweeter, you could add honey. Just add it in right before you add in the yeast. After I was through placing our dinner rolls into my 9x13 baking dish that I greased, I placed a cloth over the top of them and I let them rise in a warm place for about 20 minutes or until they doubled in size, just like this. Now I'm going to put them in my oven on 350 degrees for about 18 to 25 minutes or until the tops are golden brown. And here they are out of the oven. This part is optional, but I am putting a little bit of melted butter over the top. And here they are. These are the perfect holiday dinner rolls. They are so delicious served with any meal, and I cannot get over how easy they are to make. Now we're making the most creamy and divine corn casserole. You'll love this one. So to my large bowl, I'm adding 1 can of cream style corn. Next, add 1 can of normal corn, but you do want to make sure this can of corn is drained. 8 ounces of Jiffy corn muffin mix, 8 ounces of sour cream, and then 5 tablespoons of melted butter. Give this a really good stir. Place your beautiful corn casserole in a large greased casserole dish and then spread it out as even as possible. This is going to go into a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 40 minutes. After those 40 minutes of baking, remove it from the oven and then go ahead and sprinkle about a cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese over the top. Stick it back in the oven to continue to bake for an additional 10 to 15 minutes or until the cheese is nice and bubbly on top. I could say this over and over again, but if you've never tried a corn casserole like this, this is the perfect time to do so. It is so rich, creamy, and delicious. Now we're starting on, hands down, my all-time favorite stuffing recipe. This recipe is absolutely amazing. So onto my cutting board, I have my 1 loaf of white French bread. I'm going to cut it and cube it into smaller pieces to get ready to dry it out. I do want to let you know, most grocery stores, especially at this time of year, sell bread that is already cubed and dried out. So you could buy that bread if you wanted to skip this step. Now that we have all of our bread cut and cubed, I placed it onto my sheet pan. This sheet pan went into the oven on 250 degrees to bake for about 45 minutes. I did stir it frequently. Once it was out of the oven, I started on my onion and celery, just cutting it up into smaller pieces. Over to my pot on the stove, I'm adding my 1/2 cup of butter. Once that butter melted down, I added in the onion and the celery. I sauteed them around for about 10 minutes just to get them nice and soft. Now that our bread has completely dried out, I placed it into this large bowl, and then you are going to be adding the vegetables that we just sauteed right in there. After that, you'll be adding your fresh herbs, or you could use dried herbs. If you do use dried herbs, just add a teaspoon of each of these, but for the fresh herbs, I just bought these little packets of them from Walmart, my grocery store. So I added 4 tablespoons of chopped sage, 3 tablespoons of fresh rosemary, and then 4 tablespoons of fresh parsley with a dash of salt and pepper. Add 1 1/4 cup of chicken broth and then stir this well. I set this large bowl to the side, and then I pulled out a smaller bowl, and into the smaller bowl, go ahead and crack 2 eggs in, and then add 1 cup of chicken broth. Whisk this together. Now it's time to pour the egg mixture into the bowl with the breadcrumbs, and then stir this really well because you want the breadcrumbs coated in all of that liquid. Go ahead and place this stuffing mixture in a greased 9x13 baking dish, and then cover it with aluminum foil and bake it for about 35 minutes, and then remove the aluminum foil and continue to bake it for an additional 45 minutes. Here is my stuffing or dressing, however you would like to call it, out of the oven. This has amazing flavor, and it would pair perfectly with anybody's Thanksgiving dinner. Now we're making this simple southern sweet potato casserole. So to begin, I have 9 small to medium-sized sweet potatoes right here. I cut them in half, and then I brought them over to my Instant Pot, and I'm putting them in there with 1 cup of water. I cooked them on high pressure for 15 minutes. You pretty much just want these sweet potatoes soft, so if you don't have an Instant Pot, that's perfectly fine. You could just soften your sweet potatoes either in the microwave or in a pot of boiling water on the stove. Now that our sweet potatoes are through cooking in the Instant Pot, I'm going to place them in this large bowl. You see me here just removing all of the skin from the sweet potatoes. The reason I didn't peel them in the beginning is just because it is so easy to remove the skin from the sweet potatoes after they are steamed. In the bowl with the sweet potatoes, add 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 8 ounces of crushed pineapple, 3 tablespoons of softened butter, a tablespoon of regular sugar, 2 cracked eggs, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Mix this all together. You could do it with a potato masher, a spoon, but I just did it with an electric hand mixer. I set our sweet potato mixture to the side while I started on our pecan topping. So in this bowl, go ahead and add 2 cups of chopped pecans, 4 tablespoons of melted butter, a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and then 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. Stir this together really well. I placed my sweet potato mixture right into my greased baking dish, and then on the very top of it I sprinkled the pecan mixture that we made up. This baked on 350 degrees for about 25 minutes. If you've never made this southern sweet potato casserole before, you need to make it like today. It is that good. You will seriously love it so much, I promise. That crumble on top with the pecans is phenomenal, and the sweet potato mixture has amazing flavor. It's a tradition in our home to make this strawberry pretzel dessert every single Thanksgiving. So to begin, I have 2.5 cups of salted pretzels right here. I'm adding them into my large Ziploc bag. Once you have them in there, make sure you do zip your bag just to make sure that the pretzels don't fly out. And then I'm using my meat mallet, or you could use a rolling pin. Just smash your pretzels up into smaller pieces. I'm using an 8x8 baking dish for this recipe, so go ahead and pour in the pretzel crumbs that we just made up, and then drizzle in about 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Stir this all together to coat the pretzels in the butter, and then plop this in your oven on 400 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. After our pretzel crust was out of the oven and completely cooled down, I started on the cream cheese mixture. So in this bowl, I added 8 ounces of cream cheese at room temperature with 1/4 cup of sugar. I mixed this all together until it was well combined and pretty smooth. Now you'll be folding in 4 ounces of Cool Whip or whipped topping, whatever you buy at your store. Now that our cream cheese mixture looks something like this, it is time to add it to our pretzel crust. Like I said previously, you do want to make sure that the pretzels are completely cooled down at this point, or it will melt the cream cheese mixture. So I plopped it right on top there, and now I'm spreading it out as smooth as possible. I'll set this in the refrigerator while I work on the Jell-O mixture. So into my measuring cup, I'm adding 1 cup of pineapple juice in. After that, go ahead and stick this in the microwave for about a minute or two to get really pretty hot. After it was hot, I added it into my large bowl along with 3 ounces of strawberry Jell-O and then 3 tablespoons of regular sugar, and then you'll whisk this together. The last thing I'm doing is adding in my 8 ounces of frozen strawberries. Just let them sit in this Jell-O mixture for a few minutes to allow it to completely cool down. After that, go ahead and pour it on top of the cream cheese mixture, put cling wrap over everything, and then let this chill in your fridge for about an hour or until the Jell-O completely sets. These bars are by far one of my all-time favorite desserts. We actually eat them right alongside of our Thanksgiving dinner. They pair really well with it. But anyways, this dessert is a staple in our home. We absolutely devour it. I hope you found a dish for yourself today, and I have so many more videos like this on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed down below the video so you don't miss any more in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.